In 1993, Mike Leigh turned his attentions to the underbelly of urban life in the darkest of all his films, Naked. David Thewlis's savage portrayal of Johnny, a homeless man on the run, shocked audiences and critics alike. Do you sometimes think that you're pushing the actors too far, or letting them push themselves too far? I mean, obviously, I've read in preparation for this interview all sorts of things about actors being in character and getting involved in almost fights and all that sort of stuff.
No, I don't know what you've read, but what you've certainly not read, because it's never happened, is that, first of all, I'm very, very strict, right from the word go, that when people are in character, they're in character. But when an improvisation is over, my instruction is come out of character, and I am absolutely insistent that people come out of character. And indeed, I do quirky things like I insist that actors refer to their characters in the third person. I mean, so that they can constantly
would do this, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that there's no doubt that he or she is the character and I'm the actor, and they're two different things. Of course, in some way, if you're playing a Johnny in Naked or whoever it is, it's going to get to you a bit. But as to people getting into dangerous situations, I won't allow it.
Can you tell me something, Jack?
What?
What's all that about? That, the old Highland fling there. Do you know you're doing that?
What?
That, and for my next tick. That. Look, it just happened again. I'm not imagining it.
Fuck off, eh?
You do that in a sack with the old tick spit. Hey, Maggie! Must be a great fucking shag.
You're taking a piss.
You're fucking giving it away, aren't you?
Fucking come on, cunt! Get your fucking head open. Eh?
What's it like, being you?
Eh?
Bit hectic.
Fuck off, bitch!
What is extraordinary about Johnny, about David's performance in that film, is he does all the things that everybody else does in all the other films, but on top of that, he really absolutely got his head around all kinds of stuff, not least by doing a lot of reading.
Are you not familiar with the book of Revelations of St. John, the final book of the Bible, prophesying the apocalypse?
Yes, as it happens, I'm familiar with all the books of the Bible.
I'm very happy for you. He forced everyone to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead so that no one shall be able to buy or sell unless he has the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name, and the number of the beast is 666.
666, I know about it.
So he brings this stuff back, all the books he's read, and then you work it together yourselves, and then do you actually say, well, we'll take these bits. Now, they then scripted just before the take, or is he still improvising when you're doing the take?
No. There's no improvisation on camera. It's absolutely thorough. I mean, it's as thorough as the text of Abigail's Party that we talked about earlier. It's very precise. It has to be. His ability to improvise that stuff was fantastic. But you don't get organised, coherent dialogue. You get bits of it, but you've got to make it work. Apart from anything else, you've got to take out all the repetition.
Well, the mark, Brian, is the barcode, the ubiquitous barcode that you'll find on every bog roll and every packet of Johnnies and every poxy pork pie. And every fucking barcode is divided into two parts by 3 markers. And those 3 markers are always represented by the number 6. 6, 6, 6. Now, what does it say? No one shall be able to buy or sell without that mark.
We actually rehearsed and precisely defined that action by rehearsing at night time, because we felt to do it in the daytime we wouldn't get the whole feel of it. I mean, in a way, for me, the poetry of place, the sense of environment is part of as much what it's all about as the characters themselves. These things, again, are all part of a whole. And in a sense, that's why, finally, I feel that film is my more natural habitat than theatre, because the sense of being out there and breathing air and actually, interfacing with the real world is part of the whole thing, the whole buzz, the whole turn on.
Funny, isn't it? What's his name? Love. It's like a dripping tap. Bucket's either half full or it's half empty. If you're not together, you're alone. Or born alone, you die alone. Nothing you can do about it.
You're right, it is fucking lonely.
Mike Leigh is a star in Cannes, where All or Nothing was premiered earlier this year. In 1996, he won the festival's highest honour, the Palme d'Or, for his most successful film to date, Secrets and Lies.
This is stupid. I don't understand it. I mean, I can't be your mother, can I?
Why not?
Well, look at me.
What?
Listen, I don't mean nothing by it, darling, but I ain't never been with a black man in my life. No disrespect nor nothing. I'd have remembered, wouldn't I? Oh, bloody hell.
Let's talk about Secrets and Lies. How did that idea originate?
I know people with adoption-related experiences about whom I can't talk, and I wanted to make a film somehow out of that for a long time. And the other thing that became clear as I looked at it was that a lot of white girls in the 60s gave away black kids.
Tell us who you are, sweetheart.
It wasn't supposed to happen like this.
Yeah, well, it has, ain't it? So you tell them, go on.
Is it true?
Yes, it is.
Did you have any idea it was going to end in that kind of climax?
We had shot probably 4/5 of the film with the strictest code of secrecy on the part of everybody involved, including the Sparks and the caterers and everybody else, so that the actors never actually knew what the film was, except what they were involved in. And that made it possible to go to the location where the truth comes out, to have a rehearsal week at that location, and for the first day of that to consist of an improvisation where the actors were absolutely in character, and the most extraordinary things happened. Obviously, that 10-hour improvisation was not what you see in the film. That was raw material out of which I then distilled and structured and, through rehearsal, wrote the sequence in the location with the actors until we'd got the dramatic sequence that you see in the film.
Someone tell me what the fuck's going on. She's your sister. Maurice? Monica?
I always said she had a right to know.
No, Roxanne, sweetheart, darling, please. I will smack you, you slag, you fucking slag! Ain't it enough you had one bastard, you had to have two and all!
Stop it! Roxanne! Roxanne!
The terrible thing about Secrets and Lies was that it won Oscars, it won Cannes, and in a county as big as Kent, it was only shown for 3 days in one small cinema. But I think it's an absolute scandal that a world-renowned filmmaker like Mike Leigh is not exhibited properly in his own country. He certainly is in France.
Leigh's status as one of Europe's most respected filmmakers garners more than just awards. His films are also financed in France by backers who, unlike their British counterparts, are sympathetic to his unique approach.
Mike Leigh for All or Nothing.
Financiers in general find it very difficult to cope with the idea of coming up with substantial sums of money for a project that has no script and no guarantee of casting. The idea of not having something tangible to hold on to, and I can slap down in front of them and say, okay, this is what Mike wants to direct, then they find it almost impossible to grasp that, and particularly now that we're asking for more money. I mean, we're now looking for budgets in the range of about $10 million, and they find that really, really difficult.
It doesn't make it any easier for me, being the man with no script and little desire to tell you what the film was going to be about, and no desire whatever to discuss casting, all of which remain the case.
Not an easy sell. When somebody went to sell your film to a producer, they'd say, "What's the film?"
Well, that's right. And
I don't know who's in it. I don't know yet. What's going on?
Absolutely.
Right.
But I mean, you're a novelist. Don't tell me that every time you write a novel, you tell everybody exactly what it's going. You tell the publisher exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, but I don't need lots of money and lots of people to write a novel.
No, absolutely. But the principle, however, is the same. Yeah. I mean, I make films like you write novels, in the sense that one goes out and there's an exploration that leads to the work.